One of the best songs in the world is Pretty Green Eyes, and he starts on fried chicken and fries or something.
Welcome to the Fried Chicken Fries podcast, the Random Topic Selector podcast. I am Richard Easterbrook, and as ever, I'm joined tonight by Matthew Keeling. Hello.
Hello. All right.
This is fun. This is episode 3. We're getting
it's
right
good.
now.
Good. I'm glad to still be here. I think, I was a bit worried you were going to replace me with a wheel that generated a random guest.
Yeah. Just replace you with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary Hours.
That's what we could do. That you could like feed everything you've said on a podcast into and some kind of AI bot.
Oh, that would be bad.
But I think the one thing that you want is predictable.
Yeah, so. yeah. Much like the podcast that we're doing now.
Well, exactly. The premise is that we spin the wheel and it will throw up a randomly selected topic. We feed the wheel with the topics, and it's also open to listener contributions as well. So we've already added caravans, for instance, to the list.
Come up, it could be.
So yeah, it could be. You never know. I'm not sure how it works because like on Spotify, when you put a new song onto the playlist onto your one of your playlists, and the algorithm does put that up quite soon after you've added it. It's a little treat.
Oh wow!
So I don't know if this algorithm works the same way with our
tech website that we're using for the wheel, which is very good and reliable. Wonder if that has a similar algorithm.
You never know. State of the art technology that we're using here on this podcast. So without further ado, let's spin the wheel.
It's exciting.
Remember tonight, as every episode, we have one veto.
Yeah.
Which only one per episode. We've not had to use it yet.
We haven't.
There's 2 reasons why we'd use a veto. One is that there's not enough time to discuss that particular subject with the kind of the level of detail and insight that we've now become famous for, really. But at the same time, if it's there's a few landmines. It's actually literally landmines.
Yeah. There are a few complex topics, shall we say. But as I said last week, using the veto does almost enhance the jeopardy, because then, of course, if you veto one, you then have to talk about the next one. So we'd be very unlucky, I think. But,
Exactly. So without further ado, I'm going to spin the wheel and see what it brings up. We're spinning now.
His face. Oh, he looks somewhat
incredibly.
Right.
Incredibly, it's landmines.
No, is it really?
Seriously, is.
Oh no! People are not going to believe it.
Yeah. So, at this stage, are we going to use the veto, or are we going to talk about landmines?
I'm quite happy to talk about landmines.
Yeah. It's not something that we kind of encounter on a daily basis in there. In our coastal hideaways on the northeast of England, but
we don't know Yugoslavia. So,
have you ever been anywhere that has landmines? Because you're more well travelled than I am.
No, I've never really seen the sign. Like the skull and crossbone. It's like landmines. I've never seen. I'd love to see. I don't want to get too close to the landmine. Or stand on one, but I would love to see the sign, like a relic of jeopardy of times gone by. They're quite scary though. When I was a kid, I used to be quite scared of the idea of a landmine, because in my head maybe I thought that if we went out for the day to like Stokesley, that there might be landmines there.
Famously, Stokesley was. Involved in it, quite serious.
Told that on this field, Matthew, in Teesside, it's quite unlikely to be littered with landmines. But yeah,
During-
I mean, they're quite destructive.
yeah, yeah. They only just go like upwards. They don't go outwards. Suppose they're only going to get their intended target, which is the person that stands on them. And
Yeah.
it's horrific. It's a
Oh,
horrific like method of war. It's very.
it's brutal. Yeah.
It's a sneak. It's a sneaky kind of backdoor way of killing someone.
Oh, it's naughty. Like
Like
they're awful because like there's nothing you can really do because you hear the click, don't you? Is
yeah,
the and then he's like, well, you've stood on it. So I don't know if you can either stay there in that position because
just never move.
I think it's the release of the pressure that detonates it.
Mm.
Almost like the dead man's finger activated the trigger.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah,
could, in theory, just stay there forever. But like
yeah,
that's not practical. Like I mean, you're gonna get cramp at some point, and you're gonna need a
yeah.
way.
Just people walking past you going, "You're right, mate."
You know, well, actually, no, really. I can't move here because I'm. If you must know, I'm still on a landmine. Right. Oh well, there's nothing. I mean, but what would the passerbys do? Like, you wouldn't. They wouldn't do anything.
Nah, then it'd just be
Sorry,
like, "You're on your own. You're
sorry
on your
about.
own, mate." Yeah, really sorry,
Like,
but yeah, it is. It is. It's awful. And
the horrible. Yeah,
yeah, I always wonder why how they still exist in
yeah,
like in when it's like 30, 40 years post conflict.
yeah.
How can the how has technology not moved on so that it's really easy to find them
Well, this
and
is
just locate them and then just remove them safely?
because there are still
I don't
like
understand that.
swathes of land with landmines in, and it's like we know that they're somewhere in here, but we don't actually know where they are. So
Yeah,
like, there must be something that can like discover them without having to get like without having because you're not like roll a ball. Would that not work?
yeah, maybe the ball would have to be quite heavy, I suppose.
You know when they did, you know when a few years ago when they did that scrappage scheme for all the cars, and you gave
Yeah,
people like, well, could they not have made them into like big remote control cars and driven them through landmine fields and cleared the landmine fields with them? Because obviously they had to be scrapped anyway. So
yeah,
could they
it's
not have
quite a good
like
idea.
driven
Yeah,
them,
I don't,
not driven them, because like no one's going to volunteer for that one.
no, no. You'll you kind of you kind of have to think that they might have thought of something like that. But like at home, I've got a couple of like stud walls, internal walls,
Yeah,
and you can buy a stud wall detector so that you know, like if you're putting up a particularly heavy set of shelves or a TV stand,
yeah.
TV bracket thing, you can go straight into the stud, which is more structurally secure. So if they've got them for walls, surely they've got them for landmines.
Yeah, I guess the issue is that you can be quite close to that wall when, like,
We could
he,
just hover a drone over it.
yeah, I suppose you could do that. I mean, yeah, come on, like, surely there's a better way of rather because you can't. Because to be honest, I'm annoyed now because you can't just put a sign up and go, you can't go in that field.
Wash your hands of it.
Yeah, like, well, that's me. Like, you can't just do that and be like, oh, well, we know they're in there, but you're just not going to be able to go in there ever again because that's just late. But to be honest, it's born out. It's poor form, actually, is what it is. Because also, you're going to get like squirrels running in there and like
Yeah,
cow and
but I
like,
guess like those are probably people will think, well, they've done a job, haven't they? Really?
yeah, well, yeah,
Unless it's like the rare squirrels. I can never remember
red,
which are the
the red,
good ones. They're the good ones. All
they're
right.
the rare ones, yeah.
Okay, I've never seen one of them.
I've seen
Probably
one.
because they're quite rare.
Because they keep getting blown up by landmines. I think that's what.
Yeah. In Kosovo, or whatever Kosovo's
Yeah,
called now.
yeah. Kosovo's called Kosovo now. Yeah, yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
They always split it into two regions, and they both beat us in the Euros. Right? That's
Right.
how it goes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They should put landmines on Formula One tracks.
Now that would make it interesting. Well, it is already an interesting sport, but that would make it more interesting, potentially more fatal than it already is.
Yeah.
At this point, I should say that for a lot of the subjects that do come up, we will consult Wikipedia, or Wikipedia, as I like to call it. And I made that joke last week and it fell on deaf ears, so I thought I'd give it another airing. But there's some subjects, just like today, that it's probably better just not to search. Because everything that we've discussed and our incredible lack of knowledge and our privilege allows us not to really know that much about the subject.
Yeah. So the first thing
I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, I prefer it. I mean, I don't know about you, but first thing I think of when I hear the word landmine is Princess Diana.
Absolutely. With that big bit mask on.
Yeah.
But that's going to help.
Yeah. So is she trying to find the landmine?
I think it was a thing when
She
it
was
was just
doing
a
like
picture.
work for because there was like a big, because there were really nasty things when people would be really killed and also like maimed by these things. So I'm sure she was doing like some kind of thing.
Yeah, it was part of our role with UNICEF, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it.
With
Yeah,
the UN.
but yeah, the big mask.
Which was like,
You see, it looks like you could. She could be mistaken for being a beekeeper in that photograph.
Yeah.
Not a job you want to get mixed up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a look now. Yeah. Princess Diana landmine.
Are you a beekeeper? No, I keep landmines instead.
It was Angola.
Angola, right?
There she is.
Yep.
Thing is, in Angola there was only 2 languages that they put the landmine flag
I thought you
up
were going
in.
to say there was only
the
2
sign.
landmines.
You'd think they'd cover all. No. You'd think they'd cover a few more bases and do like English, French, German, Spanish, Italian. You know, just in case someone thinks it's just danger wasps.
Yeah, I'll take my chance. No, don't.
That would be enough to keep me out. If I saw landmines, I would take my chances. If it was wasps, I'd run a mile.
Well, I'd probably just avoid both, really. Like,
yeah.
If I saw like a landmine, I'd probably not go over there. I'd be like, nah, I probably don't want to go over there. I'll just go over here instead.
I think, the mask that she's wearing is like one of those COVID masks that people would wear on the presumption that it does actually protect you and the people around you. It does neither.
No, it doesn't do anything.
It is the same kind of mask that those people were wearing as it go around Asda.
Looking for landmines.
Instead, she's going around Angola. Slightly different.
Be terrifying.
Yeah. Oh well.
In supermarkets.
Yeah.
But anyway. Landmines. There you go. That's all you need to know about landmines. I can't believe it was actually landmines.
I know, it's incredible. Like, because this is my second episode after doing episode 1, the pilot episode, where we were given, as I've said before, the easy group stage.
Yeah.
So we got
it's not
2 really easy spins.
Yeah, it's not started easily here. I mean, I'm quite worried now about what could possibly come up.
I'm spinning again, so let's see.
Right, okay.
Right. Right.
Okay.
It's Lidl.
Lidl. Ah, right. Okay. So in Lidl,
literally unsafe for ground now.
Quite literally. Well, unless the middle aisle's taken quite the turn. I'm going to buy it. What's that there? Oh, I've got the new slide. Is that a landmine?
It's Angola week at Lidl.
Well, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Lidl. I was in Lidl the other day. It's great. I don't get to go enough because there's not one in Seaham.
Yeah. There's one around the corner from me. There's one around the corner from where I live.
Is it like the next generation Lidl, or is it one of the old Lidls? Because there's a difference.
It hasn't got self-checkouts or anything.
No, because they knocked the one. Well, they didn't knock it down. They've turned it into a Frank's Factory Flooring in Leachmere.
Right.
That was the original Lidl. Then they built a Lidl of the future, which is like their future stores will all be built in this mold. And it's got the I don't think it has got self checkouts there, but it's got like all the bakery areas and stuff.
Did they build it? Did they build it on the same site as the other one on the area?
Yeah, just next to it. Like
so
uses the same car park.
Little by little. So.
Little by little, yeah. But yeah, it's a great place. It's like it's got like a.
Go on.
No, go on. No,
I have a problem with Lidl.
Lyrical. Go on, say it.
Well, in the old generational Lidl, like iOS 1 Lidl that I have, the check it's a farce. Like it's a nightmare to buy anything, and also I don't like the bakery's great. But it's full of flies, and people pick up the stuff with their hands. And it's not necessarily Lidl's fault. And I have a real problem with the middle aisle because they don't call it the middle aisle. They call it the middle of Lidl, and it should be called the middle aisle, spelt in the same way as Lidl is, but with an M. And that would be by far and away a better way of referring to the middle part of the shop. I don't like their stock levels are poor. It's not particularly cheap for some things, but it reminds me of going in a supermarket on holiday, and I quite like it for that reason.
Yeah, no, it is like the yogurt's better.
Yeah,
the yogurt's better for one, and you can pick up some stuff that you can't necessarily pick up from other supermarkets. I think the themed weeks aren't that great anymore.
No,
they did like a Japanese week. They did a Japanese week recently where everything was just flavored with wasabi, and I bought some wasabi cream cheese, thinking it would be funny, but I couldn't find a situation where I would need to use wasabi cream cheese, so I just left it and binned it eventually.
They used to be really good. The Italian week used to be great, but now they just sort of wheel out the same stuff over and over again. And the middle aisle is like so. Bought some stuff for the garden from the middle aisle, and some weeks it's great. Like there's loads of stuff in there. Like I got some stuff for the pizza oven. They do some really good like barbecue things. There's some quite handy gardening tools and stuff. But then some weeks you go in and there's like an orange checky shirt and a lampshade, and it's like, well, what's the point of that?
Yeah, exactly. And who'd want that? To be fair,
exactly.
The clothes range. Would you ever buy a pair of Lidl trainers?
No, I bought some of the shorts,
right,
and a shirt, so that would be quite fun. It was very much an impulse purchase. I haven't worn it.
Yeah, no, I can see why.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't understand because you are keen on colour, but I suppose there's a limit that you can take that to.
I might wear it for the.
I think the worst. Well, it'd be worst places to wear it for.
Funeral.
The worst thing I ever saw in Lidl was, and it put me off, pistachios for a good year or so. I used to go and get quite a few pistachios, and I'd go to work with this big bag of pistachios, and I'd just help myself. I'd go at it during the shift, just shell one, shell eat, throwing the husks across the office floor, that kind of thing. And I saw a guy just going in there with his hands, just delving in and filling his little bag with his hands. There's a scoop right next to him. There's a scoop, and who knows? This is like way before COVID, but that was a red line for me.
Yeah, that's nuts. This.
Oh dear.
This. Yeah, stay clear of them self-service nuts in the LIDL. For that reason, I think I do like the bakery though. I am kind of still tempted in by the bakery, despite the fact that it's covered in muck.
Yeah,
because the donuts are nice and the bread's really good.
The donuts are great. Yeah, there's not many places left now that actually legitimately do bake their own stuff. I'm not sure whether Lidl even do it, but you can get a loaf of bread that's still quite warm.
Yeah, I don't know whether nice. I think they might just like par bait them, I think. But it smells great though, so they obviously do cook something. Unless they've just
Yeah,
got like, some air fresheners that infuses the store with like a smell of bread.
they just pipe that in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was reading the other day that Asda they make the big claim about bacon stuff on site. They
I
don't,
hate, I
and
hate.
a lot of their kind of artisan rolls or like a bloomer or something.
Mm.
That's just made in a factory, not baked on site at all. Made in a
Oh
factory
yeah,
and put in a posh bag and said, "Oh, this is posh."
yeah. I hate as the like apart from the coffee scam I used to run a few years ago. Uh, I've got nothing on Asda. That Asda was one of the ones where I got caught meddling, tampering with the barcodes on the self scan. So I don't like
Right.
Asda.
Asda's got this thing going on with potatoes at the moment. That must be the big crackdown.
It was cucumber. Well, it was all veg. Well, it was all veg as onion was the problem I
Yeah.
experienced.
Well, the thieves must have moved on to like to potatoes
Don't
because I'll
punish me
put
with that.
like I'll put three like baking potatoes, jacket potatoes into the thing, and it'll like
Mm.
send the person over, and there's a picture of them on the screen. They've taken a picture.
Oh
Are
no.
these correct?
Oh.
Jesus, it's like that's like 32 pence worth of potato there.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
I suppose if you're putting like steak through, scanning it as pork,
Yeah,
as a potato.
this
Yeah.
this television
But
is uh, scanning.
Lidl also, while we're on the subject of self scan, their self scan and Aldi's self scan work so well.
I've
Like
never.
the other supermarkets need to go and take notes. Starts with having a barcode that's big enough to scan
Yeah,
straight
well,
away.
I mean that would help. I mean,
Yeah. And Aldi's have their barcodes built into the design of the packaging. So if you buy a bag of potatoes, the
yeah,
barcode goes all the way around the back of it. So you just have to
yeah, that's good. See,
vaguely put it in a direction.
yeah, that
It's
is
just
good.
smart.
I am. Yeah, that's good. The self chat generally self checkouts just do me nothing. We talked about this last week. You got like the little Hitlers on like the
Yeah.
arms of bags. Like just fuck off.
Clutching a 60 pence bags.
Like seriously, just fuck off. Like people that like actually need your help to do stuff and you can't because you're too busy. And they're just constantly getting them tangled. So they're like, I
Mm.
give it back and then they're dropping them all over the floor. Oh, just go away. I know they'll have been told to do that, but just don't do it. Give
Yeah, in Asda, they've closed off the staffed tills and then close off the basket only
Yeah,
tills. So it like corrals everyone into a certain area. But
yeah,
then the staff that are there to help, of which there's usually just one,
yep,
is stood miles away.
yeah.
Absolutely miles. And they
They're gonna,
don't look at the light. There's a light system on top of the tills
oh,
that
the red,
tells you
green,
when you
yeah, the
need
traffic
help.
lights, yeah,
The
yeah,
flashing red. The flashing red. And they could be they look everywhere else but the lights. They're talking to
yeah.
their friends,
It's
having a bit
almost
of a
like they do
laugh.
it on purpose, like deliberately. I'm
And they
furious.
always go there's no order in which to help someone. So if my light's been flashing for a while and then someone else
Yeah,
has scanning potatoes and they go wrong, they go and help them first.
yeah.
And
Well,
it's yeah.
the problem I have,
I know we've strayed off Lidl, but
we have. Well, it's time. You know,
that needed to be said.
I agree. I agree with that. Little is good and also bad in the same breath for me.
Yeah. No, I think if pardon me, if I had a little nearer, I'd probably spend a lot more time in it.
I do go, but I don't go as much as I probably should.
Yeah. And you're right, there's certain things you can't get from there. You know, when I was like when a few years ago when I lived in Middlesbrough, we used to do our shopping in this order: Lidl, Aldi, Morrison's. That
Right.
was our big shop, and you'd
That's
do
quite a
like
fast job.
it would take a while.
Ah,
So you'd do Aldi. Did I say Lidl first? Yeah, you do Lidl for everything that's on the list that you can get, and
right.
Aldi for everything that's on the list that you can't get, and then you do a mop up shop at
Right.
Morrison's for the rest of the stuff. And it was probably burning more in fuel than we were saving, playing these supermarkets off each other.
Yeah. But
so that's Lidl, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Lidl. Yeah, if anyone works for Lidl, or if you are Lidl and you think we're wrong, then do feel free to keep those thoughts to yourself. Are you drinking from a carton of milk there, Richard?
I'm drinking from a big carton of milk. I've got a frog in my throat.
Got your big place.
When your throat just goes critically dry.
Yeah.
It's just done that.
To get a feeding tube.
Yeah, I need one of them.
Yeah, well.
Right. Spinning again. Motoring on here.
Absolutely.
Okay. The Sinclair C5.
Oh, right.
Imagine a vehicle that can drive you 5 miles for a penny. A vehicle that needs no petrol, just a battery. And that takes the press of a button to start, the squeeze of a lever to stop. That needs no license, no road tax, and you can drive whether you're 14 or 40. A vehicle that costs just £399. The Sinclair C5. It's a new power in personal transport. The Sinclair C5, £399. Want to buy one? Want to see one? Or simply want to read all about it? Just dial 100 and ask for free phone C5 now.
What do you know about the Sinclair C5?
I know that if it was released now, I would buy one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or would
I'm going to consult.
We're quite big. We're quite tall.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to consult Wikipedia for this one because Sinclair C5 is quite a famous motor vehicle for people of a certain vintage. But if you're a little bit younger, you might not know what it is because it's become a byword for business failure because it was invented by Sir Clive Sinclair, who was very successful in the electronics market. Brought the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, the ZX81, lots of kind of personal computers, and really popularized the use of personal computers and gaming systems in the home. And kind of on the back of that success, he moved into the electrical vehicle market, which is an admirable move, but arguably in the early 1980s was probably 40 years too soon for it. And he invented the Citroen C5, which is his fifth. Yeah, it's his fifth version of an electric vehicle. He started with the C1, but the C5 is an electronically powered tricycle with a polypropylene body, which I guess is plastic, and it was intended to be the first in a series of increasingly ambitious vehicles, but subsequent models didn't progress further than the drawing board due to the poor public response to the C5. Now, if I could describe what the Citroen C5 looks like, it looks like a toy. It looks like something you'd pick up in like Toys R Us or Smith's.
It looks hilarious. And
I think that's probably why it never. I mean, it doesn't look any dafter now than like people on e-scooters, of which I have been one. But if they had them instead of e-scooters, I think the take up would be quite.
I'm just looking
quite great.
I mean, we say that. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like the picture of, I presume, the inventor using it. It really looks like he's regretting his choice of invention here. I'm just now looking at Sinclair C5's for sale. This would be quite a good a purchase to make. There's none on eBay, although there is a Sinclair C5 front headlight for $79.99.
Quite high.
Yeah, and there's a Sinclair C5 bookmark for for sale if anyone wants to buy that. It looks like I could buy all of the parts to make a Sinclair C5, actually. I should not do that, as it will be very much like Homer building the barbecue. If,
Yeah. Le grill.
the grill, what the hell is that?
Hey, his grandfather invented a minesweeping device.
Oh, well, was it called the Sinclair C5?
No, it was called the Paravane.
Right, well,
It was underwater. It was for underwater mines.
can we not adapt that, though?
Maybe.
They just use it
Yeah,
on the ground.
maybe his grandson should have worked on that rather than useless electric vehicles.
He should get his, like, really. I mean, if we're honest, what was mankind doing for like thousands of years? Like, just wasting time dossing about. Like, oh, yeah, well done, you found gravity. Yeah, but you didn't invent, like, you didn't do anything. You just sat there and it happened.
Yeah.
Like,
What do we do with it now?
yeah. See, whereas you've got like pioneers like Mr. Sinclair who made this and just got laughed at.
Yeah.
Whereas like everyone's just
Well,
sat around for like millions of years scratching their ass, going, "Oh, it's all right, this really." We just sit in a cave for a bit and eat fish. So, well, no, like, why don't you do so now? And everyone's getting the blame for it now. Because, like, well, why? And then people like me are getting annoyed that no one's discovered a way to get rid of landmines. But really, they should have happened thousands of years ago because everyone's just couldn't be asked to do anything.
yeah. Yeah, people just seemed happy with the lot.
Yeah, the people in like the year 4, like, just going out all right here. Like,
That's me.
I'm not going to do anything. I'll leave it to the next generation to put. Well, I'll say that I don't do anything, to be honest. I got the pub though.
Yeah. The Citroen C5, Citroen. The Sinclair Citroen, not the Citroen. The Sinclair C5 gave a claimed range of 20 miles.
That's see it claimed as well, right? So
Yeah.
say that's probably about 8.
Yeah.
Where could you go
8?
8? Because I'm going to buy one of those Citroen Amis, and that range is only 50 miles, but they're hilarious and cool and go 28 miles an hour. So
Well, in many ways, this is like the natural evolution of that.
yeah, well, yeah, said out if it existed now, I would buy one. Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's I think one of the major drawbacks of it, and probably one of the reasons why it didn't catch on, it's not the price point because it was £400, which even then was quite reasonable.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the electronics in the 80s were so expensive because they were all
yeah.
built in the UK. It was before they started shipping stuff out to China to be built for a fraction of the cost. So like the TVs and stuff were mega expensive, but £400, he was determined to keep it under the £400 limit. So it'd sell stuff as optional extras, like a roof, for instance.
See, now,
it didn't have a roof. So if you bought your £400 massive investment, your greenhouse gases were just starting to become an issue, and people were becoming more environmentally minded in a country that sees quite a lot of rain. It's raining now, and it's on a summer's day. I think not putting a roof on as standard was probably a bit of a misstep.
That's just bollocks, really, isn't it? Because like you can't say, "Oh, it's less than 400 quid and not have a roof on it," because it's not finished, is it?
Yeah,
That's like going, "Oh, we've made these trainers and they're only 45.99, but there's no laces when you get them, or like they don't have a tongue." Or, like, well, it's not, is it? Because I can't. So you can't use that because it doesn't have a roof, so you can use it on 4 days a year. 48 miles.
It's a bit like Ryanair's pricing policy, isn't it?
It is very much like what I was just about to say. Does Michael O'Leary actually invent this? Because like you can't have an optional extra as a roof. You could have a CD player or like I don't know, some bloody power steer. I don't imagine you'd need power steering in a Sinclair C5, but not a roof.
No. So someone did try to break the world land speed record for a 3-wheeled electric vehicle.
But how fast did it go?
150 miles an hour.
Right, the standard Sinclair C5 did not go 150 miles an hour.
Oh, hang on, they've put a jet engine on it.
Right, well, yeah, but
It's not an electric vehicle then.
no, well, that's an optional extra, surely. Like,
Yeah, jet engine, £4 million.
400 quid if you would like to add the jet engine. That would make like the SRI.
Yeah. Was that? I think it was.
Did anyone see Mr. Sinclair?
I think engulfed in flames.
I've gotten the wrong one. Wait,
yeah.
I'll see you after just after work.
It ruined the business, but also kind of reached cult status in the 1990s.
Yeah, but
so
that's use that's just point that's no use now. The business is, I know, but people will laugh about this in 10 years' time. Yeah, I know, but we haven't got a house.
There's a guy called that's got to be a made up name, but there's a guy called Chris Crosskey, an engineer from Abingdon, set a record for the longest journey completed on a C5 on a trip to Glastonbury, 103 miles. Quote, I nearly died of exhaustion. Why would you? You'd just be sat in the car, you'd just be pressing the button.
It makes little sense, all of this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In many ways, a trailblazer.
Yeah, I kind of want to like it, but I'm also annoyed by it. Because the optional extra things are just stupid, and that's really wound me up. Can we move on? I'm sick of it.
Yeah, we'll do. I was just going to talk you through the optional extras.
Oh, right, okay, do that, definitely.
A big page. Design. Optional extras, yeah. Lights.
No.
You can have this vehicle. It has no lights.
Right.
The second one, mirrors. So mirrors, mud flaps, a horn, and a high-vis mast consisting of a reflective strip on a pole designed to make the C5 more visible in traffic.
Well, it would be more visible in traffic if you put lights on it in the first place.
The brochure noted that the British climate isn't always ideal for wind in the hair driving and offered a range of waterproofs to keep C5 drivers dry in the vehicle's open cockpit.
No, you just need to put a roof on this car. You've invented the car. You've done everything. You've done the hard bit. You just put the roof on it. You've rounded the goalkeeper. You just need to you can't charge you can't charge for a roof.
No. I'd feel pretty cheated. I'd turned up at the I'd just handing over the money for a car that I just bought. Going, right. Well, are you gonna want a roof with that, sir? Well, yes. Yes, very much so.
Where did he sell these cars?
Well, he didn't. That was the problem.
Well, yeah.
That's the issue. But they did incredibly achieve cult status later in life.
I can see why.
But obviously, he's the failure of the C5 created financial difficulties for Sinclair.
It would, yes, it would, yeah.
So he sold most of his business off to Amstrad for £5 million. So that's not bad. He didn't. He wasn't ruined.
No. He deserved to be, though, for not putting roof or lights on this car. Move on.
Yeah, moving on. So it's probably worth an issue an episode by itself. So Clive Sinclair. Spinning. Got time? Probably. Oh, actually.
Well, we'll see what it is.
It's cricket.
Oh, we're not going to be able to talk about cricket in about 5 minutes.
No.
The veto cricket.
So we're going to utilize the veto, the first veto of the fried chicken fries era has been played. And now I've got to find a sound effect for the veto.
Yeah.
Great. Sinclair C5. I'm just writing it down because, yeah. So there we go. So we've vetoed cricket, which it means that it stays on the list, and will be discussed at a future date. Anything that we do discuss, I sound like I'm police.
You sound like am I being arrested?
Yeah, anything that we do discuss in the future will just be taken off the list. But if that situation materially changes, we do reserve the right to add that back onto the list. So we've talked about Lidl tonight, but if Lidl do something incredible,
or do something horrific, well, probably not have to do something horrific actually.
If they start selling landmines,
yeah.
But there, that's the show. That's the episode. We've discussed landmines, Lidl, and Sinclair C5s. So quite a broad church. Yeah. As ever, we encourage you to send in your suggestions. So we're on all the various social media platforms, and I can't remember any of the handles for it. But
it's Fried Chicken Fries Pod.
Well, there we go. Yeah. So we're on Instagram, X. That's it. That's all we're on.
LinkedIn.
We're on LinkedIn. Yes, we've got a massive corporate profile on there where we do thought leading columns each week. If you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify, do us a favor and just give us a rating and a review. Not a 1-star rating.
Yeah,
that's nasty.
It's just unless you like unless you love landmines or something.
Yeah,
I guess.
So yeah, but give us in and just tell your friends because we've started from zero.
We've started from fucking out.
Yeah, we've not pushed this on any of the other platforms where we have established audiences.
I'm just going to retweet another podcast that I may or may not do better.
Was that the one with lots of thousands of followers?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but it's crap though, so like this one's better.
Right, brilliant. That is the episode. We'll be back next week with even more random adventures. Thank you very much for listening.